Hey Nick, your show with Ignacio, was that today?
Yeah, earlier today. We do it Thursdays.
Yeah, we're live.
Good evening, people of the cast. Gary B, Casual Comic Guy here. And as always, I am joined by the fattest stacks of comics in the land. We got Rob over here. We got my good buddy Nick from Nick's Kix and Comix. And we have our man of the hour, actual Dracula himself, Adrian. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me on. Really looking forward to this.
He's a fake. He's a phony.
Now, usually we start with our intro, but instead we're going to play a quick clip and then our intro.
Sure,
So,
sounds good.
Let's see. Rob, you want to do the honors and hit Nick's share?
I'm sorry. I'm discombobulated because I'm not even here.
Oh. Uh-oh. Are we? I think we're having a... There we go.
See what happens when you shave your mustache, Gary.
I know, right?
There you go.
There you go.
I love it.
All right, and let's get to our regular intro. Then we're going to start this baby off. All right, once again, good evening, guys. We started off a bit different. We wanted to play that clip of Drax.
What did I watch?
Yeah, I can see how without context that might be a little.
I mean, all I'm going is like, is Drac coming out of the closet as a vegetarian?
No, that was in fact a clip from my a video I made when I won a. It was a mystery box unboxing I did, and I won the grand prize, which was a Tomb of Dracula #1.
Which is an awesome grand prize.
Yeah, it was fantastic. That was from Man from Beantown, who puts together great boxes.
And at the time, that was your #1 on your grail list, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to say I just got a second copy recently. So now I got 2.
All right, that makes more sense. I was afraid you went vegetarian on us.
No. Although, you know what? That's the first time I think I've seen that since I uploaded it. And I totally forgot I put the ad for prescription beans in there from Dr. Stomach's hunger remedy.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah. One of my sponsors, one of my many sponsors.
Right. Yeah. What's the meat one? I'm trying to remember.
Well, a couple of my sponsors, a long running one is Dr. I'm terrible with the names.
I'm sure your sponsors love it.
Yeah. Dr. Von Kidney's horse paste. And
that's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah. And there's the Salami Mommy meat cradle as well.
Salami Mommy. All right, let's say hi to our chat real quick. We got Ignacio in the house. Good evening, Ignacio. Brian from LCS. How you doing, sir? DJ Links with the your.
Como dice Links?
No, yeah,
right. Roscoe, how you doing? Beckerman, good evening, sir. Adam's Card Closet. How are you? Johnny 5 Alive. So, Chop and Drop, good evening, sir. All right. So, Drac, as we like to start these out, obviously everyone that's in the chat is here because they know you. So, for the people watching this on the rewind,
why is
let's
that obvious, Gary?
Because I see the names and they all know Drac.
Oh, okay.
So, Drac,
everyone. I'm like, oh, I'm going to call this one out here. For those of you who are watching on the rewind who have no knowledge of who Drac is, well, then Gary wasn't talking about you.
That's right. Yeah.
To the rewind. For those on the rewind.
I don't know who this DJ Links fellow is, actually. I'm not familiar.
Como dice. I can't even pronounce. Forget
What's up, Joe?
Como se dice? Como se dice, Roberto? Como se dice, Roberto? El DJ Kinks.
All right, Jack. The 2 minutes, who is actual Dracula and his channel, and then we're gonna get into some questions. If we can get this damn show on track, we're having trouble.
All right, I'll see if I can help somehow. I don't know why you would come to me for that, but okay. Yeah, so I am actual Dracula, and I have a channel, YouTube channel of the same name. And I started it. Actually, I just looked this up yesterday. My channel, it's officially 1 year old this month. So how about that?
Oh, so we started around the same time.
Yeah. And I started out not really knowing what I was doing. I still don't really.
So either. Like the rest of us.
Yeah. And yeah, you'll find things like unboxings and haul videos and stuff like that. But kind of put my own spin on them, or at least try to. I do a weekly show with my good buddy Comic Aussie, Comic Picks in the 416. We do that every new comic book day, every Wednesday night. Show off our new comic book and back issue pickups. And then I've also got my other live panel show, Casual Dracula, which I can't really put into words. Every episode is kind of different. It depends on who the guests are. I kind of tailor the show towards who I have on. Sometimes there'll be a specific topic, sometimes not really at all. It's pretty random, hence the name Casual Dracula. This is not the kind of casual you might expect from someone like, say, Gary B, the casual comic guy. This is more like casual in whatever happens. And it's not even really a weekly show any longer. It's literally whenever it happens, it happens. So, yeah.
Well, that's the way it started too, right? It started as a morning show that's on sometimes in the evening and sometimes during the middle of the day.
That's right. And you know what? That's still technically true because I may still do a morning show. It may be at night. I kind of, when I ended up doing the show with Ozzy, I had a set day and time for my weekly show with him. So I was like, it was kind of a bit much to try and do 2 shows every week for me. So I kind of put Casual Dracula on kind of the back burner, and I'm still doing it. It's just not as frequent, or it's just not a regularly scheduled program. But yeah, so that's basically my channel. I don't really know what to say other than go check it out and see exactly what it is I'm doing, because I have from the very beginning, a big part of my channel was I want to, I guess, try and make people happy or make them laugh if I can, if possible, and make something like opening up a box of comics at least maybe a little bit more interesting. So,
well, going along with that, with your Dracula persona, I have 5 vampire questions to start off the show with you.
Okay.
Gary, can I ask one important question first, though?
You sure may.
Drac, do you feel like you need to get a haircut right now with the 3 of us and our shiny heads? Because I'm thinking that you're a little hippie-ish.
I'm feeling pretty good about it, actually.
Oh, yeah. All right, fair enough. All right.
Yeah. I'm trying to catch up with Tylox the Mighty, the mightiest mullet in the game right now.
So. Well, you got to grow the big mustache too.
That I can't do. He's got me on that. Yeah.
All right, so let's start out with my first vampire question for you. If you could pick 3 comic book heroines to be your 3 vampire brides, because we all know Dracula has the 3 vampire brides,
right?
Who would they be?
Oh wow, that's actually a good question. My 3 vampire brides. No, this is just based on characters I like, or because maybe they could bring something else that I
Whatever
could
you like,
use
it's
to my
just-
advantage, like their powers or something, right? I
Sure.
guess it could
Just
be.
3, as long as they're comic characters.
All right. First pick would be Storm for sure, who's absolutely one of my favorite female characters and just one of my favorite characters in general. So got to go Storm. Who else? Wonder Woman, right? Make Wonder Woman a vampire? Absolutely. Why wouldn't
Vampire Amazon.
Which version of Wonder Woman though?
I? Oh, I guess whichever one I could catch. I don't know.
Golden Age Bondage Wonder Woman.
Yes, definitely. Golden Age Wonder Woman for sure. And you know what? I'm gonna go with I got to go with Vampirella, and I'd make her an actual vampire because she's technically not a real vampire. So yeah, but she's already like well accustomed to the lifestyle, right? So.
True enough.
Yeah.
Vampire question number 2. Which actor portrayed Dracula best? And I got 7 choices for you to choose from. Bela Lugosi, Gary Oldman, Christopher Lee, Frank Langella, Jack Palance, Klaus Kinski, Lon Chaney Jr., or for the outside pick, Leslie Nielsen from Dead and Loving It.
Yeah. I mean, so many great choices. For me, I'm always kind of
2
like,
choices.
All
those names, there's 2 choices.
There's 2 choices. But for me, I got to go Gary Oldman because that's really it was Coppola's film that really got me into Dracula as a character, and absolutely love that performance.
Okay, I'll give you 3 choices then.
I think Rob was going with Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney.
No, I was going Bela Lugosi and Christopher Lee.
Yeah. Those would be my top 3, definitely. Yeah.
All right. 3rd vampire question: what YouTube buddy would you make your bug-eating Renfield?
There's really only one choice for this, honestly. If you don't pick that one choice, I'm going to be disappointed.
I can already see DJ eating bugs.
Well, you already guessed my answer. It's got to be who could it be other than DJ Lynx? If there's one other person I want to see eat bugs, it's got to be him. So. And I know it would make Nick incredibly happy. So yeah, we're gonna go with DJ. Yeah.
All right.
At least he's in New York. He can just eat the cockroaches right for.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of food around for him.
They're literally this big, so they're meals.
Yeah.
Number 4, Jack. What is your favorite comic book depiction of Dracula? Because he's been Marvel, DC, a slew of indies. He's been a couple different.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, my favorite is Dracula from Tomb of Dracula. It's an odd book. He's kind of a weird Dracula, and it's a weird comic, and that's really why I like it. So, yeah, I got to go with Count Dracula from Tomb of Dracula.
Nice.
And he's got the mustache too. So
he does.
The mustache, yeah.
And just call out Flash by Night's Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy, which is a funny movie.
Yeah.
Last vampire question, then we're gonna get down to questions about you. You get to bite one celebrity hottie. Who do you sink your teeth into?
Yeah. I'll go with let's say Jennifer Lawrence.
Not a bad choice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Couldn't imagine where you'd bite.
Take it easy, Gary. It's a family show.
Does it matter?
No, it does not.
Hey, can I throw in a bonus vampire question? Is it A, B, O positive? What's your favorite flavor?
Depends if you're talking breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Oh,
ooh, good answer.
So you have to pair it like a fine wine, then. Okay, I got it.
absolutely.
All right, so let's get into some Adrian questions now.
Now I want to go listen to some of my old CDs now. I'll
Right.
pull out some Rasputin and listen to Transylvanian Concubine again.
Now we know you've been into comics
Powerhouse.
again for how long?
I've been into. Sorry.
You've been into comic books again for how long, or did you never leave them?
Oh no, well, I wasn't out of comic books, but I was
The American Red Cross is calling right now.
Yeah.
They want to get blood. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, I had stopped collecting probably for almost 20 years, and I got back into it about 2 years ago.
All right, so in that time, now we just had all these guys that met at CG.
C2E2, Gary.
Thank you very much. Words are super hard for me today.
In your defense, it's not really even a word. It's just a bunch of letters and numbers thrown together.
So
It's like a droid.
It is. What I'm curious about is if you've gone to any of the many conventions in Canada, whether it's the Toronto Comic Con, Capital City, the Island Entertainment Expo, or even the Ontario Collectors Con. Have you gone to those or plan to go into any of those?
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, like when I was maybe 15, 16, I went to a couple of cons, like the Toronto Comic Con. I think they actually had a Wizard World at the time. I think I went to one of those. But since I started collecting again, I did go to Fan Expo last year, which was really great. Because it was my first convention in like 20 years, and got to meet some people that I've only really talked to online, and it was a great experience. There is another convention coming up here in March, the Toronto Comic Con. And then I'm hoping to make it to a con in the States at some point. I would really like to go to C2E2. Definitely want to go there. And Baltimore as well. Maybe not this year. If not this year, then next year.
Why Baltimore?
I heard it was a really good con. And I know, there's a lot of people in the community I know have been going to that. So it's another opportunity to meet other people, right? So
I want to talk about that really kick-ass cover you did with Alf. As the alien. Yeah. So that thing was spectacular. Like, I don't see how anyone could do nothing but love that cover if they got it. So it was a great sketch cover by you on a blank comic, but you're also a bit of a woodworker.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever thought of pairing a commissioned sketch with maybe an actual Dracula wooden stake that you make yourself, kind of be on brand with it? That would be a great pairing.
I haven't considered that yet, but that's
why
a good
would a Dracula
idea.
build his own weapon of destruction?
Yes. Thank you, Rob, for pointing that out. Yeah.
While you're at it, we'll get a werewolf and we'll teach him how to reload silver bullets.
Yeah.
But think how great that would be for that channel, man. Your own little stakes that have the actual Dracula on them, a little bit of blood on them, send them out.
I have thought about things I can do, maybe smaller projects like that. I'd say just stay tuned for that. I have definitely thought about things like that I can do, that I can either sell or do for giveaways, things like that. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Now
I won't say what, because I'm not sure exactly yet.
That's okay.
Maybe not a stake, because Rob makes a very good point. I could trip and fall, and then it's bad news.
Exactly.
Now, being an artist, because that, like DJ and the rest of the chat was saying, man, that cover was so good. So as an artist, and I'm sure you have artistic influences, who are some of your artistic influences, and what era of comic art is your favorite?
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, as far as influences go, there's just so many. Well, I mean, there's just too many artists named that I like. But as a kid, let's say when I started really getting into comic books, it was early '90s, so my guys were McFarlane, Jim Lee. I worshiped those guys. I wanted to be able to draw like them. I used to copy McFarlane's drawings. Like I used to take his Amazing Spider-Man covers and like just try and copy exactly what he did. And McFarlane's still absolutely one of my favorite artists, as is Jim Lee. Now, there's so many other artists I discovered over the years that I've become a huge fan of, especially ones that aren't necessarily really like they're really when you see their work, automatically, this is this person because they've got a really unique style. Someone like say Sam Keith or Bill Sienkiewicz. I've always really liked and respected those guys.
And Sienkiewicz can do a couple different styles. He's just an all-around artist.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as right now, who I really like is Andrea Sorrentino, who's doing Primordial right now and Gideon Falls. Just for not even so much his style as a storyteller, as someone working in this medium, he's just taking full advantage of the possibilities of this medium with his just crazy page layouts and stuff like that gets me really excited. No, and that's not so much an influence, it's just like I get really excited about seeing people do really new, wholly like original stuff, right? Yeah. And then in terms of favorite era of comic art, it's kind of all over the map. I mean, because I grew up with the 90s stuff, I have a deep love for that. But also outside of that, I would say Bronze Age Marvel, definitely.
Yeah, that's my favorite as well. When you got people like John Buscema who are just killing it, and I like John Romita back then. I don't like his boxy art so much now, but I loved him in like Contest of Champions. The art's amazing. His Spider-Man work back then's incredible. Gil Kane. A lot of those guys are just spectacular.
Absolutely.
Now, you were saying earlier, and I actually had this question down. How's your first year of YouTube? Describe that journey for you and how you started and where you think you are in relation to where you thought you would be.
Yeah, I mean, it's all been kind of unexpected. And going back to the beginning, I really just kind of dove in head first. It started out with me just making a couple short videos on Instagram. And this was around the time I was discovering, a whole bunch of different YouTube channels and seeing what all these other people were doing. Kind of gave me the idea of like, well, I have these short videos, I have ideas for more. Why not just put them on YouTube? I also a big catalyst for that was I had discovered Whack Comics, and I saw what Lee and Tyler were doing, and I was like, they were definitely a big inspiration for me in starting my own channel. In terms of like, I saw guys that were doing something that was more along the lines of what kinds of things I wanted to do, not necessarily ripping up comics. I don't do a whole lot of that on my channel, but just their
uniqueness.
Yeah. So when I did decide to do it, it was I knew I would have some of kind of the typical content you might find, like unboxings, and things like that. Not too many though. I had but when I did do them, I wanted to make sure that they were at least something that I could call my own, that stood out from other people's. And so I started incorporating just by virtue of wanting to make videos, I started teaching myself this editing software so I could like throw together weird things into my videos, and that's been from day one. It's it's kind of a steep learning curve. I'm learning every day with every video, and that's something I've really enjoyed, actually. And then as it's gone along, I guess another unexpected thing was like starting doing so much live stuff, because when I initially started it, that was never my intention.
Same.
And the more and more I got used to it, the more I enjoyed it. And now it, like, I'd say makes up a good, a good 75% of the content I'm putting out now ends up being live, which was not really the plan at all. And, but yeah, I wouldn't change anything. There's, it's one of those things where I have so many ideas for all these this edited and recorded content I want to do, but it's all stuff that's very time consuming, and there's only so much time I can allot in a week to this channel, and I wish it could be way more. But it's been really, it's just been a lot of fun. I've met so many incredible people through this. And that's been the biggest surprise, and it's why I know I will keep doing this for a while, because this community has been just so incredible and supportive, and I was not really expecting anyone to be watching this stuff. So the fact that all the feedback I've received has been positive. That's been just a huge unexpected, I guess, a benefit. The fact that, like, I probably would have been making these videos anyway. The fact that people like it is it's been fantastic.
The gravy on the fries there.
With that being said, and I guess saying, Gary, too, adding the whole fact about gravy, how do you choose the sponsors for your videos? Is it just based on compensation, or do you use the products within? Like,
those are made up products, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm supposed to say I use the products, so yeah, I use them all the time.
I'm trying to figure out the most practical application for horse paste. So
there's so many. It's a long list.
If you ever tear up a horse, you can paste it back together. Works great.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet. But...
right what the name says it is.
Well, it's more of a medicinal salve, typically, but it's got many uses, including as an adhesive.
So let's
tastes great. Filling.
I just had this picture of a horse glued to a wall somewhere. Trying, wondering when it's gonna get down. All right. Let's learn a little bit more about you comic wise still. So what is your favorite and most disliked comic stories? Like, what's the story that got you in the comics to stay? And what's the story that you read, you're like, I could have went without this one?
I mean, the story that had the biggest impact on me and is still my favorite is The Watchman. I probably read that when I was, I want to say, about 13 years old. And my knowledge of comics up to that point, we'll say 14 years old. My knowledge of comics up to that point was, Spider-Man and X-Men. And then someone gifted me a couple of graphic novels, which I had never seen before. They gave me 3 graphic novels. One was Watchman, one was V for Vendetta, and the other was Ed the Happy Clown by Chester Brown, which is a selection from his Yummy Fur comic. All very different and not at all like what I had really been... I don't want to say I hadn't been exposed to, because I was already familiar with kind of like underground comics. I was making a zine at the time and going to all these, zine fairs and small press fairs. And I'd been reading, underground stuff for a couple of years, ever since like I was a kid, like literally like 12 years old. So I'd seen some weird out there stuff, but to see that this stuff was coming from like DC Comics, I was like, I had no idea, that existed. And so Watchmen obviously had a huge impact on me. I shouldn't need to explain that. If anyone who's read that knows, it's just an absolute a classic now. And then I guess a story that I really didn't like. I don't know, man. There's not a lot that I've really thought I hate this or anything. I can generally find kind of positive things in most of the stuff I've read. Maybe I'm just really good at picking things I think I'll like. I don't know. There's probably been some Batman stories I was not too keen on. Batman White Knight, I didn't really care for that. What else? Oh, you know what story I didn't like? The Joker War. Hated the Joker War. There we go. James Tynion did not like the Joker War. It was just, that was a slog to read for me, because I also read all the tie-ins. What a waste of time.
Now, you, of course, we were talking about it earlier. Humor is a big part of your channel. All right, you got a dry humor about you, which is fantastic. So, who growing up and even today are some of your comedy influences?
Yeah, growing up, I grew up watching a lot of comedy. Monty Python. I would watch Search for the Holy Grail over and over. I loved that movie. And another movie like that was Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. That was another one that was on. I'd watch that every couple of weeks. Even though I was too young to really understand some of the jokes, I just found it funny. There was enough in there I understood to find funny.
When you grow up with those, you're peeling back layers every time you watch it. And you get older.
Absolutely. And Kids in the Hall, that was a big one for me as well.
I started watching that when it was first on HBO, and then it went to something else. Oh. Brain Candy is still one of my favorite movies. No one watched it, and it's so funny.
Brain Candy is brilliant. That's one of the most underrated comedy films of all time. I mean,
that whole series.
Yeah.
I remember the first episode I watched when they were in the canoe and they were in their suits. They're talking about some Perry Ellis. They're looking for it was so askew. You either got it or you didn't, and if you got it, it was fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that definitely carried forward into stuff that I liked later on in my teens and 20s when I discovered, stuff like Mr. Show with Bob and David, Tim and Eric. I'm huge fans of that stuff. But I also love like big, dumb, stupid comedies that Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore are two of the greatest comedy films ever made. And so it's kind of difficult to pin down. If it makes me laugh, it makes me laugh, And I do listen to like a lot of stand-up. My favorite stand-ups right now are like Dave Chappelle. And Mitch Hedberg was one of my favorites.
I could have taken you for an Andy Kaufman guy too back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I never really. I guess because we kind of a bit before my time, right? So
right.
I'm an '80s kid, so I didn't really. Was not really exposed to Andy Kaufman at all until I was much older, and then even then just bits and pieces. But I'm sure I would have been a huge fan, if I was around that time.
Oh, there you go. Taylor Winder, what's better, Larry the Cable Guy or Carrot Top? There's no good choice there, Taylor. Each one of them has a different part of hell that you go to.
That's true. Yeah.
See, that's one comedian I cannot listen to Larry the Cable Guy. It immediately I gotta
Gallagher
change it.
Final answer.
Can't say I'm a fan. No. Never listened to him.
I love George Carlin growing up too. He was a
George Carlin. Yep. Absolutely.
You had George Carlin, you had Richard Pryor, who was always a classic.
Although you shouldn't say his name, we had tons of Bill Cosby records.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's just a fact, right? I mean,
Right.
he was huge.
His comedy was funny.
Yeah.
His actions were deplorable. Comedy was funny.
Yeah. It doesn't change the fact that he influenced a ton of comedians.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Right. Or the influence his show even had.
Yeah.
The Cosby Show, which ran
That's
forever.
true. Yeah.
So let's get a little into Adrian's guilty pleasures. What's your guilty pleasure song and guilty pleasure TV show and movie? Something like you like to put on that's your comfort zone and you know it's bad, but you love it anyway.
Right. Guilty pleasure song. That's a tough one. I listen to a lot of music, and I don't know. I would say Lady Gaga, I guess, because maybe people just wouldn't expect it, but I like Lady Gaga. And then TV show, movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because I pegged you for an LMFAO guy.
No, I don't. I've never
Yeah,
listened.
I forgot about them until you brought that up.
Oh, Hackers. Terrible movie.
Oh,
But,
that movie is so much fun though.
Yeah, I actually just watched Hackers like maybe a week ago.
And there's so money of that cast just went on to great things.
Yeah.
Anything out of the Full Moon Studios.
Yeah, that's right. They did the Puppet Master movies, right?
Yeah. Puppet Masters. They did Doll Man. They did. There's a whole series of some vampire ones. Avocado Women of the Jungle, and
yep.
I used to watch those. I remember renting those movies when I was a kid. Hack the Planet, absolutely, Taylor. Well, you know what? Russia is about to, so I'm
I'll have to say that I love Yoga Hosers. That's just because it's an homage to Full Moon Studios.
Yoga Hosers is hilarious.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I was watching that and just laughing my ass off. Yoga Hosers is great.
Pure guilty pleasure.
Now,
I still haven't seen that actually.
Wow.
The key to watching it is going into it knowing that it is an homage to Full Moon Studios, at the same time a piece for his daughter to be the star, and basically put a teenage girl in the position of power. If you go into it with that, it's a much more enjoyable movie than if you go into it thinking, "Oh, great, it's another Kevin Smith film."
Yeah,
it's his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter in the movie together.
Yeah, Kevin Smith is another, like, he's real hit or miss for me. You know, I liked Clerks, I liked Mallrats, but then some of his other films, it's just like it's kind of up and down. Where it's like I like some of the dialogue and the jokes he's doing, and then it just can get a bit cringy. And
this has bits of that because it has bits of Clerks element to it, but at the current teenager level, and then it's got the Full Moon Studio horror aspect to it as well.
Right.
You mean you didn't like Tusk from Kevin Smith?
I didn't watch that yet. I haven't watched that either because I don't know.
You know,
I got a long list of movies I need to watch. Sorry, what was that?
I said, I like Tusk. It was just weird. It's just not one you're going to watch again. You watch it once, you're like, that was good, but I'm good.
Right.
But Clerks, I mean, I don't know. I still think it's impossible for Rosario Dawson to be in a movie and to not like it. So.
Well, that's Clerks 2. She wasn't in the original, but.
No, but Clerks 2, it was amazing.
She made up for her missing the first one.
Yeah. I'm just talking to her.
Gary and I are in agreement on this one 100%.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that first movie was so quotable, though. It's hard not to like.
Absolutely.
It's true. Yeah. So actually, one of I think the very first comic convention I went to was I went and saw Kevin Smith. He was there, and it was when he had just started doing his like speaking tours, going around telling all his like Hollywood stories. It was the first time I'd heard him talk about the Superman movie with what's his name, the producer.
Nick Cage.
No, about the producer who wanted the giant spider in the movie. And, yeah, that was good. That was I always liked listening to like his stories and stuff.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that his stories are great because he tells them from a position of where he's rubbed elbows with a lot of people who are slow, but he's not really he's not that level, and he knows it, and so he keeps it real. It's very much like the other guy who I like that does that a lot is Henry Rollins. Henry Rollins does a lot of spoken word. It's the same way. It's like he knows he's not an A-list rock star, but he's been out there with them and seen the same stuff and can relate it down to what's absurd to the normal guy, right? And bring it in.
Yeah, absolutely. And Henry Rollins is a guy who's just purposely gone out to some of the worst places in the world, right? Just to get stories. So you got to respect that. Yeah.
Oh, Henry Rollins is entertaining. But, you know, people like Henry Rollins and Kevin Smith, they also, even if they're not that level, they understand what level of entertainment they provide and to who.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, so they know how to hit their audience.
Yep.
So I want to go back to something you were talking about earlier. You said that you used to make a zine. What kind of zine did you make?
Okay, so when I was, let's see, I want to say it was probably about 11 or 12 years old. Say 12. I had no idea what a zine was, but it was actually my mom's idea. Because I was, I liked to draw and make little comics and stuff. And my mom had just kind of heard about this zine fair that was being put on here in Toronto. It was called Cut and Paste. And she was like, do you guys want to like make a zine for this? It's like a little homemade magazine. And that's what we did. It was my mom, myself, and my brother. We made this zine called Dysfunctional Family, and it was a collection of my mom's a writer, so it had some of her stories, and then it had really crude comics and drawings by me and my brother. And we went, and it was a success, I guess. People bought it, and so we kept going back year after year, and so yeah, we did that Dysfunctional Family. I think we did it maybe like 8 issues or something.
Wow.
Yeah, and it started out with just the two of us, me and my brother and my mom, and then we also brought our friends in to contribute. Again, really very crudely drawn and written stuff.
The whole underground experience in comics.
Yeah, but it was a really cool experience because we'd go to these zine fairs, these small press fairs where you have, a lot of like real underground, self-published comic books and self-published, books and poems and stuff like that. And there was just like these kids, like my brother was like 10 years old at the time. We were little kids, right? And easily the youngest there by far. When I was a teenager, I also did a couple other zines. When I started to really get into like punk rock and metal, I started up another zine where I interviewed punk and hardcore bands, and did that for a couple of years. And then I just kind of, I don't know, slowly just kind of got out of it. Guess kind of got tired of it. It's a lot of work to draw, write, put that thing together. It's all photocopied by hand, and eventually I figured out Kinko's, but towards the end. But all those early zines, we would all just photocopy, whatever it was, 100 issues, all page by page, and it was a lot of fun. I do intend on putting out some videos about that, because I have all that stuff. I have I do want to make videos on that, because no one's really ever seen it. And even just for myself, like as a record of it, I haven't looked through those things in years, but there's some pretty interesting things.
Oh, that would be cool. You should definitely do a video of those.
Yeah.
So with all the creating that you're doing, you know, with the zines, with the carpentry, with the drawing, is there any medium that you want to tackle that you haven't tackled yet?
Ooh.
I mean, I'm kind of doing it with my YouTube channel, because I always wanted to like really get into filmmaking. But and this provides a good opportunity to do that as a hobby, because I never really got into it professionally, and I'm not about to now. That's you know, I don't even think I'd really want to at this point, but just to do it for fun, that's yeah, like just teaching myself like kind of how to put things, how to edit things together, and yeah, I don't know, just come up with more creative ways to utilize the fact that I have a channel and I can really use it for anything I want.
It's a far cheaper way than the way I did it. Going to college for 4 years to learn how to edit audio and films. A lot more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, now, I mean, I use YouTube to teach myself how to make YouTube, right? I mean,
Right.
A lot of tutorials. And
that's the crazy thing about YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, being from Canada, just like anyone from any place, you have your signature things that are Canadian. So, share with everyone else some of the best Canadian music or television or movies that are out there that people may not know about.
Come on, let's go honest. One more thing, Gary. Or treats.
Or treats. Yeah.
Oh, I love the little maple candies. But, go ahead.
Yeah. I'll get back to the treats. Well, we did already mention one, I would say, is definitely Kids in the Hall, and especially Kids in the Hall Brain Candy, which I feel like is a movie a lot of people have not really seen. It's kind of flew under the radar probably for a lot of people outside of Canada, and
the belly laugh
it is a must see. Is watch all of Kids in the Hall, which that's a really strange show. If for someone who hasn't seen it before, as far as sketch comedy goes, it's got some really odd ideas, and
30 Helens agree it's a pretty good show.
Yeah, and Brain Candy was their movie that they wrote and did, and it's phenomenal. Outside of that, I would say my favorite Canadian kind of production in recent memory, film or television, was Schitt's Creek, which, you know, became pretty popular. I think a lot of people have heard of that now because it was an amazing show, really funny, written by Dan Levy and with Eugene Levy. And I actually used to work with Dan Levy when I was just a young Dracula. One of my first jobs. Me and Dan Levy worked at a bakery together, selling, muffins and cakes to rich people. And yeah, I met Eugene Levy there as well. His father was a customer. I guess that's how he got the job. But
Eugene Levy's awesome.
Yeah. So that, and then music. There's a lot of Canadian bands I really like. One of my favorite Toronto bands has always been Death from Above. Their full name would be Death from Above 1979. It's just two guys, a drummer and then the other guy plays bass and synth. And then Godspeed You Black Emperor, which is a band from Montreal. And they play really, it's all instrumental, very intense, sometimes very sad, but also sometimes just it's the I've never heard a band like that, and they'll always be one of my favorite bands, and they're easily my favorite band I've seen live, because like they can just make a whole, like whatever venue you're at, the whole place just vibrates. Like it's
crazy energy, huh?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. So Godspeed You Black Emperor, that would be my recommendation.
So is that like the best concert you've been to then?
It's one of them. It's up there. Yeah.
I used to go to Canada all the time for concerts.
Okay.
We used to go to the old Montreal Forum. They'd always have concerts there. I saw the Violent Femmes there, the B-52s, Motley Crue, Poison, just Tesla.
Yeah. I always my mom got to see the coolest bands that I didn't, like the Ramones and Led Zeppelin. You know, I always wished I could have seen them live, but it's okay. I've been to a lot of other great concerts, so not in a long time, because you know, the pandemic, and even before that, when I was younger, that was like my thing. Like in my 20s, almost every other weekend, I was going to see some band play. Like that was what I did for fun.
A lot of hope.
Well, and then Treats. I meant to get back to Treats.
Oh,
if you don't know what Timbits are, I don't know. You must be living under a rock.
No, we have Tim Hortons here in Rochester. I go there at least twice a day.
So Timbits,
coffee.
Timbits are donut holes, right? But here's something interesting I heard on the radio today, which is that last year Tim Hortons revenue, like across the board, they were down like 10% or something. And then earlier last year, or maybe around Christmas, they introduced Tim Biebs, which were Justin Bieber's themed, or not themed. They were just like, these are 3 new flavors of Timbits, and we'll slap Justin Bieber's name on them.
Right, and they're selling like the little fanny packs and everything.
Yeah, and I don't. That must have did something, because now their profits are up 10%. So what are you gonna do?
It didn't seem to move over here much, but like so I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. By 5 o'clock, I'm in the Tim Hortons drive-thru getting my morning coffee.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I like donuts. I don't know.
Yeah.
Me too, but I got the Wilford Brimleys. I got the diabetes, so can't really enjoy them like that.
The hell with it. You're only gonna live once. So
yeah, I just want it to be extended.
There's a lot of noise about this sport on skates called hockey out of there in Canada and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I heard it's kind of a big thing. Kind of swept the nation recently. Kind of got everybody excited. But why is it that curling's really national pastime?
Curling, that's a good question. I have no idea how curling is actually our national pastime. It really
I don't know
is.
if it is or not. I just made that up. If it
is for some people. For some people, it's just as big as hockey. I think it's typically an older generation, but
they're serious about meddling in that.
Some people are diehard curling fans. Yeah, I can't really explain it.
Brushers go crazy too.
Yeah, they do.
I actually prefer to watch curling over hockey, but
what? See, I'm a diehard hockey guy.
I'm in California, dude. I mean, granted, we have a hockey team. We have hockey teams here, but I mean, come on. It's not like I grew up playing well, let's be honest. I didn't grow up throwing a slab of granite across a pond of ice either, but
yeah, I was just about to say. Does it remind you of your childhood?
But I've played shuffleboard, I suppose.
Yeah.
Did a lot of sweeping?
Yeah, I had to sweep the deck.
I grew up with Saturday night hockey at CBC with Don Cherry and Ron McLean, and you're watching the Winnipeg Jets, you're watching the Maple Leafs, you're just, I don't know, that was the childhood growing up listening to those guys, and you couldn't help.
Same here. Yeah.
You had that doubleheader every Saturday night. Just so much fun, so many good memories. And you always tune in to see what suit he had on that week too, because he was always so loud about his suit.
Yeah, they were incredibly loud suits. Yes, and
Don Cherry, anyone that was Canadian. Oh, good Canadian boy.
yeah,
Doug
loud
Gilmore could
suits,
go
loud
across the
suits,
ice
and a
and
big
kill
mouth,
someone.
that got him in trouble. So
Oh, yeah.
he is not allowed on TV anymore.
No, he is not.
Yeah.
But he never was someone to censor himself.
No. I mean, that's love him or hate him. There was only one Don Cherry. That's for sure.
He was 100% him.
Yeah. But yeah, hockey. It's been in my part of my life since I was a kid, and there was a period in my like teens and 20s around the time I got out of comic books. I also wasn't really interested in sports so much. Then when I don't know, I started kind of slowly getting back into it, and then even started when I was 30. I even started, wanting to play sports, which I hadn't really done before. I was never really like an athletic kid or anything. I liked playing ball hockey, but then, in the past several years, I got back into actually like wanting to play sports, playing ball hockey, joined a ball hockey league, playing softball, things like that. Things that hopefully won't destroy my knees too badly. But
well, and to me, the best live sport to watch is hockey by far.
Oh, I mean, for me, it's the greatest. There is no better sport.
And I was I'm a big Devils fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually 13 seats directly behind Marty when he got his 100th shutout against Philly.
Oh, nice. Yeah. He was great. Yeah.
But, so much good stuff. Well, we're approaching our hour mark, so we're going to start wrapping it up. But before we wrap it up, I'd like for you to maybe, talk about some of the guys that you've made a YouTube family with, like Kamikaze and some of those other channels, just some channels that some other people may want to check out that you hang out with in your 416 and stuff show and stuff like that. If you wanted to give them a shout out.
Yeah, definitely Kamikaze, who I see is here in the chat now. As I said, I do a show with him every Wednesday.
Me too.
And I want to do a channel sub push for him soon, because I think he's probably around 200 or something. I want to get him up to 250.
Everybody, go ahead and go
sub up Kamikaze, guys. Come on. Definitely.
He is in the chat.
Yeah, and
Nick's on it.
There's also got to shout out my guys, the Comic Kingpins. A few other Canadians in there as well. You got Black Ground Comics, Hyper Combo, FaceTime, and Comic Dude, and of course Newbie Comics, who all those guys are part of kind of his Newbieverse. That's how I became familiar with them, and kind of become friends with them over the past little while. We started doing. We have a new show together coming out, a new monthly show. Me, Ozzy, and the Comic Kingpins. So I'm really looking forward to that. That'll actually be, I think next week we're going to be putting out our first episode.
Right. I wanted you to talk about it too, because there's a lot of good comic content coming out of Canada. Just really great channels and really great comic content creators.
Oh yeah, there is definitely TM Nerdy, for example. That guy's the best, and one of the biggest. Chris the Comic Vet.
I have to stomp for my co-host.
Well, I was going to say both of them are great supporters of everyone in this community. And Vancouver Comic Junkie. Let's go out to the West Coast. Check out Chris, Vancouver Comic Junkie. That dude is a serious collector. I mean, he's got. I've only seen this tiny little bit of his collection, but what I've seen is very impressive. And he's got. I've done some videos with him as well. He's a great guy. Yeah, and there's just too many to name.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
definitely.
and it's just great to see that the hobby of comics is doing so well in so many different places.
Mhm.
They should all get together and form a group and call themselves the Canadian Price Variants.
There's an idea. Oh,
Gary,
man.
I'll tell you,
You might have just given me the name for our show because we don't have a name yet.
I gift it to you.
Yeah. All right.
Gary, I tell you, I still got my gun locked and loaded. Those bastards try to invade us, Gary.
No, I can't work it because not all the kingpins are Canadian. So
Oh,
I'll have to. We'll have to put that in my pocket for
There you
a
go.
later time. Yeah.
Well, no, then you
Yeah.
just tag and friends under the title.
That's
And that
right.
includes
Yeah.
anyone that's not Canadian.
But yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah,
No,
I
but
like
I
that.
just wanted to get that out there because I don't think people realize how much good Canadian content about comics is out there. There's a lot. It's great, and I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just such great comic content, and it definitely deserves its highlight.
It does.
And you know
it
what
does.
we should add? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
I was just saying, and what we should add is those of you here in North America, in the United States of America portion of North America, when you're giving your giveaways, why don't you think about including old Canada in your places? It really isn't that much more expensive
It's not.
to ship to Canada if you're shipping some comic books.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Keep the community a community.
Yeah, I've definitely shipped boxes to people. For me to ship a box, to Vancouver costs just as much as me to ship it to California. Basically, very little difference. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, Rob. Thank you for reminding people that we're up here.
You're keeping the polar bears at bay, so we can live polar bear free. It's important that we occasionally throw you a few comics.
Well, I think
yes, thank you.
Rob does a lot of shipping over there. I've shipped to Krista Comics Vet a few times, but I do a lot of the contests I do. I'll ship international because I get a lot of international support in my channel. So, every now and then it's not conceivable for me, depending on if what I'm gonna ship is over 4 pounds, then it starts getting pricey. You gotta know the limits of what you're shipping to.
Well, if Rob just exempts James Willie from his giveaways, he won't have that problem.
But I don't exempt him or his family.
And he wins every week. So there you go.
He's been on a dry spell. He actually hasn't won in months.
You're welcome, James, because he'll probably win this Saturday.
There you go.
I did want to give it a shout out. Yes, because we did shout out some fellow Canadians. Who else is no slouch either is Australia. A lot of great Australian
absolutely. We got him in the chat here. We got Ignacio.
Ignacio's not in Australia.
He's Argentinian.
Completely different, right? Hemisphere.
I thought he was in Australia with Lee and them.
No. Correct. He's in the
same.
southern hemisphere, yes.
Yeah.
But he's in South America, not Australia.
Right. Well, I knew he was Argentinian. I just thought he had moved to. I just thought he lived in Australia.
No, he's just working on a kangaroo book.
Oh,
that's
okay.
why you're confused.
It's because kangaroo meat is so popular in Argentina. That's why.
With a little salt.
It's one of their major imports, actually.
And Captain Sorrow, they're all great.
I was gonna say, Simple Simon, Sarah, Mad Spidey, yeah. So shout out to my Australians down under. Yeah.
Spidey, my man, Spidey.
Well, Spidey, reach out to me. We're gonna be having him on the hot seat soon.
Oh,
nice. Yeah.
But as we like to do, since we're hour and 5 in, we're going to start wrapping this up. So as what happens, Drac, is I'm going to run down with these gents. We're going to say what's coming up on our channel, and you, as the guest, get the last goodbye, and then we sing ourselves out awkwardly.
All right.
So, Rob, what's coming up for you, sir?
Well, thank you for asking. Earlier today, dropped opening my $210 DJ Links mystery box. That's on the channel. That came up today. Saturday, with Chris the Comic Vet, we are doing Slab Hub as always, the first appearance on the show of several planned appearances of Man Cave Comics as he comes to bring forth some of his amazing collection. We'll just leave it like this.
Everybody.
He has more than twice the number of slabs I have, and they're way better than anything I have. So we're excited to have Man Cave Comics come on the show. And then on kicking it out just a little bit, just only because I don't really go far out, but just because he's here on March 1st, Tuesday, March 1st, we will have Sidekicks Talk Comics, our next episode. A actual Dracula will be on the show as one of our panelists as we discuss the Batman.
Ooh. Just in time for the movie.
I'm looking forward to that.
That movie looks phenomenal. All right.
Absolutely.
Nick, what have you got going on? I know you had a couple shows out today, buddy.
Yeah. We'll get to that part at the end. Got some mail calls coming up because your boy's been spending a lot of money. Check out me as usual, making my guest appearances on Legion of Comics tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night we'll be at DJ Lynx's 2,000 subscriber giveaway. This weekend, nothing going on because I'll be at a local con and I'll be going to see The Crow, hosted by James O'Barr Saturday night. And next week, when you start to hear this sound, whistling, you know it's time for me and Nacho, Ignacio D'Amelio, filling some holes on Thursday afternoon, noon Eastern. We're hoping to have Cole's Comic Claims as a guest this week, and that'll be it.
Very nice. All right, coming up for my channel, we of course got Savage Saturday Review coming up this week, and then next Tuesday we have Matt Woods on our second episode. Rob, as usual, is my co-host on the 1011. So we will have Matt Woods on, and we'll be going into that and getting his top 10 comics, one with a story and one spec pick. So if you guys haven't checked it out, we had a great first episode with Metarog. A lot of fun, a lot of great books, and a lot of great stories. So please check that out. And again, anyone that might be interested, that show's going to be twice monthly on the opposing weeks to Sidekicks Talking Comics. You can reach out to me on Instagram, or I'm going to reach out to you. But if you want to come on and talk about your top 10 books and one with a story, reach out to me. We'll plan you in there at some point. And now we're going to switch it over to Drac. Drac, what have you got coming up, sir?
All right, so every Wednesday I've got comic picks in the 416 with Comic Aussie. And I'm not sure what day yet, but sometime next week, I believe we'll be dropping on my channel the very first episode of the yet-to-be-named new show that me and Ozzy are doing with the Comic Kingpins, where we take a look at some books from the previous month. We all have our own picks, and that will be this will be a rotating show in that it will also rotate between our channels, but first episode will be on my channel, and so be on the lookout for that. And then what else do I have? In a couple of weeks I'm doing some douchebags unboxing match show.
Right. You're doing one of those too?
Yeah, that is on Mr. Taylor Winter's channel. That'll be, I think it's like, I don't remember what we said, second or third week of March. But yeah, that's,
I'm doing mine this Monday. I forgot.
And other than that, Casual Dracula. I'm trying to schedule it. I think next Thursday there may be a new episode of Casual Dracula, which I know people are waiting for. So
Garbage game show.
Yes, and there may be a garbage game show.
You piece of shit.
Yeah, that's what I got going on so far. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank the chat. Thank you guys. You guys are great. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of In the Hot Seat with the Usual Suspects. I want to thank my co-hosts who are always here to support me. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate you guys. And Drac, thank you for coming on, man. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. Again, another episode that flew by like that, just listening.
Yeah,
coming on.
thanks for having me on. This is it's been a blast, and
it was a lot of fun. I hope you had a good time yourself.
yeah, absolutely.
And as we like to end these,
Awkward ending. Awkward.